Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Success Secrets Revealed with your host, Ronald Couming. So grateful today's been an amazing lineup, and we have no shortage going forward. We have John Shin right now, and when you hear his history and what he's doing, you're going to absolutely love it and find it very beneficial no matter what level you're at in your entrepreneur or business ownership. I want to tell you a little bit about how Success Secrets Revealed became about, and then we'll move right on into the interview. I have a radio show with approximately 1.7 million listeners every week on WCAP 980, a real radio station. But because COVID hit, they shut down the radio station. They're not manning it with live people after 10 a.m. and my show was 11 a.m. So they're running reruns. And while the reruns are of value, they are of, 2 or 3 years ago, because I had been doing that show for like 4 years. And so I wanted to continue giving back and continue interviewing people. But now with that we're in the current situation. So what I'm doing is I'm having this show, I'm taking out the audio and I'm sending the audio to the radio station where they're going to play it in rotation, but our viewers and listeners get the added benefit of hearing the information current and seeing it live. And no guest gets paid to be on this show. No guest pays to be on this show. So everybody's here just to give back and try to help. I don't get paid to be on this show. My company, RCS Online Solutions, does pay for everything, the VAs and all the promotional materials and all that. And what the company does is we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients. And we basically do that because when people are searching on the internet, they're not searching for your name or your company's name. If they know that, they're calling you. They're searching for a solution to their problem, right? So they're looking for the product, service, or solution. That's what you need to come up for on the search engines. So that's what RCS Online Solutions do. We get you ranked on the first page for the product, services, and solutions, and we don't even charge you until after you're ranked. So now we're going to bring on John Shin, who is, I'm going to read his bio right now. And John Shin is an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, executive, producer, author, motivational speaker, and critically acclaimed business coach. Captivates his audience with a sense of humor and contagious energy that keeps people on the edge of their seats after 12 hours of intensive mentorship. John received his B.A. in business administration from the University of Southern California, an M.B.A. and a Juris Doctorate Degree in law. Immediately after college, John was recruited to work at a Fortune 100 company, but soon learned that the corporate world was not for him. When he was introduced to the financial service industry by his wife, Arlene, John knew that would fit his entrepreneurial vision and mission to spread financial literacy. He has mentored and trained hundreds of thousands of people nationwide to become successful business owners. In John's own words, "Show me your mentor and I'll show you your future." Throughout his career, John has been featured in Forbes Magazine, August 12th, 2013 edition, and Forbes Special Edition, as well as Finance Magazine and Advantage Magazine. As the modern-day author of the best-selling book, Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill in 1937, and the executive producer of the featured film, Think and Grow Rich, the legacy continues at his mission. John continues his mission to inspire young entrepreneurs everywhere. Please help me welcome John Shin. Yay.
What's up? What's happening?
We lost you for a second. I had some internet issues earlier. I didn't know if you went out or you just paused. But glad to have you back, John. How are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. I love the enthusiasm. I love like they said, you got a great sense of humor looking at all the TP behind you, man.
Well, that's what everybody seems to want these days, right? They want money and toilet paper, and I got both. So which one do you want?
Well, I mean, let's start with money. I mean, you know what I mean? The toilet paper, we can always get a rag, right?
That's right.
I got a t-shirt, you know what I mean? I can buy all the
Oh,
t-shirts I want with money, right? Cut them up, you know?
there you go. Do what you got to do. You got to adapt, right?
I hear you. And talk about an impressive resume. I mean, you got both an MBA and a Juris. You know, that means you're also a lawyer, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got an MBA in business financing and an attorney, you know, a producer. I mean, you got one heck of a resume. Can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and how you got to achieve these things?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a very, very traditional family, Ron. My parents immigrated to this country from Korea. To be very specific, it's South Korea, because I know people are going to go, wait a second, you communist, No, we came from South Korea, okay? So, and even if I was from North, I'd still say I'm from South, okay? But, but
All right.
but no, I mean, my parents came here. I think why most people want to come to America, because it is the greatest country on the face of this planet, the land of the free, the idea of having liberty and opportunities. And my parents came here basically raising my sister and I, saying that, we did not come to this country to screw up this opportunity, right? I mean, why would we come to America, right, to go and seek a job, right? Because you can find jobs all around the world. And so, yeah, so we went to college, because our parents said it was not about money. That money isn't everything. Money won't make you happiness, and you got to get an education. And so, yeah, so we grew up in a very traditional family, and we were very obedient. So we never talked, they raise you, Asian parents raise you that you're never supposed to talk back to your older parents or to the elderly, right? It's a respect thing. It's an obedient thing. So you could talk back to your mother, but your mother, your tiger mom, would beat the hell out of you and, come out busting out with some Bruce Lee kung fu stuff, right? So you never did. So, yeah, I mean, I went to college, and because I was programmed to get as many degrees as I possibly could, is exactly why I got so many degrees, and so I did. And then I came out and went into the corporate world, and it was definitely not for me, as you alluded to in my introduction. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing that, everybody feels that you have to go to college today. And I think today is quite different than 40 years ago, or even 30 years ago for that matter. That, if you're just looking to, in my opinion, want to make a living, like some people don't have the opportunity today to go back to college. They're 50 years of age now, or 55 or 65, and they're like, can you imagine a 65-year-old going back to college today? For them, I think they just need to make some money. And I believe that most people that want to make some money just have to shift the way they think. Here's the thing, Ron, we're all wired for success, right? But programmed to fail. And what I mean by wired by success is that someone above, whoever your spiritual, person is that you look up to, your creator, wired you. However, you're programmed to fail. And that's because of everything that we think about every day. And that's why the book Think and Grow Rich is so powerful, because the book itself says think, right? Think and grow rich. So the question I like to ask people is, do you ever think about what you think about? Right? Because right? I mean, what are you thinking about? Because whatever you're thinking about, and I hate to get into the higher law and all that kind of stuff, but whatever you think about will affect the way you feel. And the way you feel is the way you act. And the way you act will determine the results, and the results will be predicated based on what you're thinking about. So, as the world today is thinking about COVID, they're thinking about no more jobs, right? They're thinking about, oh, the stock market's crashing. We've got riots, we've got fires, we've got all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of things like that you can't change, right? There's certain things you can change within your control,
Right.
but they're the things that you can't control. You can't stress over that. So I always focused on the things that would serve me and put me ahead and my family ahead, because at the end of the day, that is who I wanted to take care of first and foremost, was my family, right? My parents, who sacrificed so much, and then my wife and my 4 kids. But the question then is, after your family is taken care of, what's next? What is your purpose and what is your calling? So, my calling today now, Ron, is to help people get to where I'm at. And it's that old Chinese proverb, right? Which says that if you give a man or a woman a fish and they can eat for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, then guess what? They can eat for a lifetime, right? Because the idea to just give people money is not the solution, right? I mean, if just giving money away would make everybody become millionaires, then every welfare recipient would be a millionaire today. But they're not, okay? And even at the people who win the lottery, okay, why is it that people win the lottery and go broke or they go bankrupt? Because they got to change the way they think up here. So anyway, that's why I'm just a huge fan of the book Think and Grow Rich, which is what my wife and we read that book. It's amazing, Ron, that today, there's so many people that don't even understand the resources that are there. They've got podcasts, you've got YouTube, they've got Google. There's people like you that are having radio shows. You're doing podcasts and going live with things like this. I mean, just think about the resources, 25, 30 years ago when my wife Arlene and I were starting a business, no one wanted to help, right? Everybody was so selfish. Why would I tell you my secret? Why would I give you my intellectual property, right? I mean, this is our family business transferred down for, how many generations. Nobody wanted to help. And so we went to a bookstore, believe it or not, called Crown Books. And we and we bought a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what better book to read when Napoleon spent 25 years of his life, right, interviewing some of the greatest minds, and he read it during the Great Depression, right? So what better book than, today? Like, some people will say we're experiencing like the Great Depression, and if you look at the numbers, it just, as a financial expert, which is really my background, we study inflation, we study unemployment, we study the market every day. I mean, that's what we do. Right after this, I'll be going right back into visiting with my clients and, managing their money and seeing where the market's headed. But because that's our core business. And, the thing is that the Great Depression, if you look at their unemployment, was almost 3-4 times worse than it is today. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, it's at least 3 times worse than what it is right now. So what better book than to read, Think and Grow Rich, that was written during the Great Depression. So that's what my wife and I read, and we applied those principles. We got the book. We read every page together. And it's crazy that whatever she read on the same page was a different takeaway than what I had. It's like reading the Bible, like one little passage has a different meaning, in so many ways. And so we are huge fans of it. And I am just eternally grateful that I went to the Napoleon Hill Foundation with my team, Scott Servine, Andrew Graham, and we got the rights to make a movie. And this movie has been super epic. I mean, it's been going viral. We did have I think you were at the big rollout, Hollywood rollout, the red carpet event in Hollywood, and it was phenomenal. It was like a huge success. We were in AMC theaters. Then after that, we went to the digital platform, and then after the digital platform, I got the rights to go back. I went back to the foundation and asked Don Green, who's another amazing individual, just a man that has such massive heart to give and to serve. And I got the rights to write the Asian version of it, and so I went and studied, a lot of the successful Asian people to see what their secrets were, like Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, Vera Wang, and Steve Aoki, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, a big actor, he's part Chinese. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Yeah. So I interviewed a lot of these people, but I also interviewed non-Asians, right? I interviewed gay people and straight people and Protestants and Catholics and Jehovah's Witnesses, men, women from all different walks of life. And I did that because in the beginning of my book, the one thing I said is, in my opening, forward, not the forward, but in the opening chapter, that there's a lot of forms of discrimination in our world today.
True.
But the one thing I know, whether it's sex discrimination, religious, age discrimination, there's a lot of forms of discrimination. But the one thing I know for sure is that success doesn't discriminate, right? I mean, success, goes to anybody who embraces the 13 principles in this book. And it's not that I'm promoting, not like, here, can I see that? There we go. Yeah.
There you go. Rich Asians. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you just read the book, every chapter has a step-by-step, process. And, one of the biggest things that you just have to do as an entrepreneur, is to, number one, have no other option. There's only option one, or there's only an option A, right? There's no other option. There's no turning back.
Yep, burn the bridges.
Burn the bridge. That's right. And that's the problem. I think a lot of people is that they want to start a business, but they also keep their full-time job. So that means they got a back out plan. They've got a way to get out, an escape hatch. And so, one thing I did for our business is we burned our bridge. One of the hardest things to do in my life was to tell my mother and my father that I was not going to practice law, that I was going to go in business for myself, but not by myself, right? That I got in business with my wife. I got in business with amazing, I surrounded myself with smart people, right? Great minds.
Yep.
As Napoleon Hill talks about, he created a mastermind, and that I got the right people around me, and there's a great book out there that said, the title of the book is crazy as it is. It says that good is the enemy of great. We have good schools, we've got good everything, but they're not great, and that's because good is the enemy of great. And I wanted to go past great. What is high? What's above greatness? And that's to be world class. And I wanted to be world class in every level, So how I was going to do that was based on this book. And it just, at the end of the day, you just have to make a decision, which is another secret out of the book, is to decide. Make a decision. Ronnie, when you look at the word decide, it comes from the Latin root word to do. De means to do.
Yep.
And then to side is to die. That's why, we got pesticide, homicide, right? Is to die. Well, it's to kill, right? So you need to just kill all your excuses is number one, right? And if you are going to quit, you need to just start quitting. You need to stop quitting, quit quitting. How's that, right? You got to quit quitting, number one. So I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to be associated with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And then, of course, we went on the tour. And, we went on the tour. And on the tour, we met amazing people. And that's where you and I met through different people. And what a great friend you've been over the years. And so I appreciate you inviting me here today and being a part of your show.
Yeah, this is that's a great opening. I mean, there were so many points, but I really want to start with the good is like the enemy of best or whatever, because once you're good, you kind of get complacent, right?
Right.
Yeah, so you get complacent, so you're not striving for anything better. I mean, so I love that, and I love the whole thing about personal accountability. You know, Jim Rohn talks about what happens to you pretty much happens to everybody else. Different time, different place, different building, different person, but the emotions that come from that pretty much happen to all of us. But it's what you do with that. Do you use that as an excuse to disable you, or do you use it as something to empower you? And I love how you talk about the, deciding. You've got to take that action, because so many people I've met over the years, I speak on stages on internet marketing, business solutions, and that's how I go to these events. And sometimes I just pay to go to events and listen, or it's a 3-day event and I'm there speaking for, 20, 40 minutes, whatever my slot is, but I'll stay the whole 3 days because, you're talking about the opportunity to listen and learn to some, really successful people that overcame a lot. You overcame a lot. And but the whole thing about personal responsibility and listening and learning and serving, not selling. And I like how you also talked about going into business for yourself but not by yourself. So I think there's a lot of excellent takeaways from that. Can you tell us like the 13 principles? I don't know if you have them memorized, but to me the whole Think and Grow Rich foundation, the whole ideology is about having a positive mental attitude. They abbreviate it and call it the PMA, but I think it really starts with that mental shift. You've got to you just got to shift the way you think. You got to turn that TV off. Like you said, you can't control all that stuff. You can get lost in that. You can just sit there on Facebook for hours. You got to shut that down, and because it will affect you. And you talked about what you think about will grow about, but it's also the energy. When you're thinking about that, you know what I mean? It changes your energy and people can feel your energy. And that just creates like, who's going to surround you. You're kind of like, creating a downward slide. So that's excellent. Now you were going to take this book over on a world tour, if I'm correct, right? Pre-COVID?
Yes. So in 2019, we decided to go on a tour. So the movie, we actually produced the movie in 2016. Then we did everything else in 2017. We released it in 2018. And then in 2019, we decided to go on a tour. So I went on the tour for multiple reasons. Number one, to continue promoting the movie, because I feel like the young generation today, unfortunately, they don't know the original stories in the book. Like I actually went to a group of people, younger people. Excuse me, guys, if you're listening to me and you're a younger person, don't be offended by this, okay? Because I'm not going to say all the younger people, but I'm just saying that whether you're younger or older, there's many people. Like I asked a bunch of people, do you know who Henry Ford is? And they said, yeah, isn't he like he was the former president, right? And I go, yeah, the president of what? Okay. And they go, oh, come on, John, the United States. And I was like, yeah, wrong Ford. Okay.
Yeah.
I asked them if they knew who the Wright brothers were. And they said, yeah, come on. I mean, they were like the band in the 60s, right? Or was it the 50s? It was one of those decades, the Wright brothers. I'm like, yeah, no, it's the wrong Wright brothers. In fact, I even asked one a couple days ago. I said, do you know who John Hancock is? And she literally said, yeah, isn't that the one where Will Smith is in the movie about Hancock? And I was like, no, that's the wrong John. That's the wrong Hancock, right?
Wow.
And so I'm like, yeah, go look at the Declaration of Independence and look at who's got the biggest signature on the Declaration of Independence. And so, yeah, it's John Hancock, right? But just they don't know, and they don't like to read books, unfortunately. And for me, I'm a big reader. I mean, I read every single day, whether I'm reading, on my computer or I'm reading on my the actual book. I don't know if I've ever gone a day without reading something. Because if I could read a book, Ron, and pick up one little nugget, if I could just invest $20 or $30 in a book and get one takeaway out of that book that will help me make more than $30, then why would I not want to learn? Because if you look at the word learn, there's the word earn, right? The more you learn, the more you earn. And the one thing that people have to know is that the day you feel that you have stopped learning is the day you're going to be crippled. I mean, this is why so many retail businesses today are going bankrupt and going out of business, because they have not adapted to the modern days. You're in the SEO, internet marketing industry business. That's your expertise. Why in the world would somebody want to go and try to learn everything about SEO, right? Because there's only so much time in the day. That's where this is where they hire people like you to bring the experts in and say, Ron, I need you to help build my brand and bring me up and get me out there in the real world, right? And so that's what just blows my mind. Everybody tries to be the DIY, the do it yourself. I could do this on my own. I could do this. So can you imagine, Bill Gates, right? Or Jack Ma or Jeff Bezos. Can you imagine if they said that I'm going to be the CEO, the CFO, the COO, the chief administrative officer, and they're doing everything in their company. This is why you hire people, and you've got to learn how to delegate. You got to delegate. I can't sit here. I mean, I sit on an acre of property here in my house in Calabasas, and my backyard's like a forest. I'm not going to go out there and cut trees. I'm not going to garden. I'm not going to mow my lawn. I'm not going to, put the chemicals in my pool. I hire people for those kind of things, right? So I tell everybody, don't be bitter, get better.
Yep.
Okay, get better at what you're good at, and then go hire everyone else to help you with the rest.
I love it. And I think that's great too. That's a lot of what I tell my clients too. Whatever it is, stay in your genius zone, because not only you're talking about loss of opportunity too. So if you're spending like 30 hours trying to learn something, one, you're not going to be as good as the guy that's an expert or a specialist at it. And whatever results you get will also not be as good. But in that 30 hours, it took you away from whatever your genius zone is. So what you could have accomplished with that 30 hours might have, been, paid for 10 times what you could have had paid somebody to do that for you and had a better result. So yeah, I learn it, do it, delegate it. And I love how you talked about learn and earn, because one of the things I tell people is like when I go to these events and I listen, I learn, to serve, and to earn. You know what I mean? So in that order: listen, learn, serve, and earn. And then whatever I can then pass through to my clients. So even like these interviews, I love them because I listen to them. I'm part of them, right? But I sit here, I listen, and I learn to some of the smartest, most successful people across the country. I mean, it's a gift for me as well, and it also keeps me connected, because there is that isolation because of COVID, where we can't go to these big events like we used to go to. So I'm a big fan of people, go on YouTube, pull up something on Jack Canfield, Les Brown, or, any one of these people. Or if whatever get outside of yourself, and but always continue to learn. I love that. And so go on, tell us more.
Well, I mean, as you're talking about learning, they say that what you learn after you think you know it all will make all the difference in the world. And so just when you say, I think I know it all, that's when I say you get crippled. We put the tour on to go to Asia this year. We're supposed to be there. We're supposed to be on tour. Steve Aoki was going to be one of our featured guests. Stedman Graham, Oprah Winfrey's other half. Spiritual partner, business partner, husband, was going to come. We thought we were going to have a massive presence, in Asia and in Europe. And of course, as you said, COVID happened, and, we were obedient. We stayed home. We locked down. We did more than social distance. We completely stayed inside our homes. I mean, literally stayed inside our house. We didn't want to take any chances because it's like the unknown, and everybody's kind of concerned. Who wasn't concerned? I mean, you got to be crazy and stupid not to be worried when COVID first came out and all the governors and the president, everybody said, no, we're on lockdown, where you were going to ignore that and start running around without a mask on. Because it was almost like, remember when HIV first came out, HIV and AIDS years ago in the 80s? And nobody knew. We didn't know how to get it. How do you get HIV? Is it really, transmitted only sexually, or is it something if somebody breathes on you, if they spit on you, if they touch you, as it comes through sweat? Yep. What is it? Nobody knew. Everybody was terrified. And so, in this too, we'll look back, 10, 15 years from today and go, wow, that was the solution. We had to take some extreme precautions because, life is so precious, and it's better to be quarantined for a short period of time. And I do know now there's more states that are opening up, which is great. But you know what? During a pandemic and during the quarantine, as you alluded to earlier, we're all locked down. It's not like only some people were locked down. Okay. We were all locked down. But the question is, What did you do to adapt? Okay. And that's why I say during a pandemic and during a quarantine, if you don't come out of this, right, with some new knowledge, okay, with some new side business or a new side hustle or something, then it wasn't that you lacked time, okay, but you lacked what? The 3 Ds. I call it the 3 Ds. Number one, you lack desire, right? Which is the number one thing. Number two, you lacked dreams. And number three, you lacked discipline.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't have those 3 Ds, you're in big trouble. And it starts with you having a burning desire to achieve those dreams. And then from there is to have discipline and then act on those things, because I think too many people, they just don't have discipline.
Yeah.
And even the word ACT, ACT, is an acronym. And what that acronym stands for, A, is to take appropriate action. Appropriate. And, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds. Wonderful. Well, what actions are you taking? Well, what'd you eat? Well, I had Domino's pizza. I had a McDonald's double. I had one of those, whatever. I had a supersize. And then you go, oh, look at, these are the genes that I have. These are the cards that were dealt to me. I'm supposed to be overweight and obese. Well, look at your actions. They have to be appropriate.
Yeah.
C stands for to be consistent all the time, to just stay at it, right? Consistency. And then the letter T stands for tenacity, to be tenacious with your actions every day, because even the best of us, there's times where we just go, okay, I want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. But you just got to be tenacious. You got to be consistent. And those are that's what I tell everybody as you're taking action is to ACT. So
I love it. And I've never actually, I don't think I've heard the ACT acronym broken down like that before in all the events I've gone to. So kudos to you. But it makes sense. You've got to take appropriate action. I've heard it said in certain ways, don't listen to what people say, listen to what they do. Somebody can tell you they want to be successful. They can tell you they want to change. They can tell you they're going to do this. But if their behavior is inconsistent with that and they're not doing anything to achieve that, their tomorrow is going to be no different than their today, And now the 3 Ds for me is desire, dedication, and discipline. So I got a new one in there with the D. So now I might have a dream. So I might even increase it to
40.
4. Yeah, I might go to 4 instead of 3.
Yeah.
Good stuff. John, this has been amazing, man. If somebody wanted to, either they're in business and they want to scale and grow, but before I even get to the question, I'm basically going to ask you for 3 tips that you can give people that are either just starting or they're already in business, basically what they can do. And it might be as simple as, like you said, with ACT or something else you've already mentioned. But the gentleman you mentioned who started Alibaba, didn't just like overnight, wasn't he like rejected a whole bunch of times, and he went through some stuff too before he became successful, right?
Yeah, they all did. Jeff Bezos, right? Jack Ma, I can just think of so many people that started a business. It's interesting that Jeff Bezos started his business with 2 of his best friends. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg, actually, who I was thinking about, also started his business with 2 of his best friends. Okay. Jack Ma started his company Alibaba with 8 of his close friends. So my question for you is, what are you doing with your friends?
And who are your friends? Yep.
Yeah, who are your friends? Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your friends? Because I can tell you, I started my business with my friends. Okay. And now our company, we've now opened up in all 50 states. We've got 208 offices around the country. We have just under 12,000 people working for us now. Okay. Wow. So, we grew pretty well. I would have never done that by myself. But my question is who are your friends? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And let me just tell you something. We all have toxic friends. We have, those friends are unsupportive. We've got family members that are your family, your blood. And you would think they would support you, but they're the ones that rain in on your parade the most, right? They're the dream stealers. And so let me just tell you that some of you, one of the hardest things for you to do in business, okay, is letting go of those negative, dull, disillusioned, dadgum crybabies. You just got to let them go. And a lot of people have said to me, John, it's so hard to do. I've known them for so long. Yeah, but how has it served you? Right? I mean, if you're holding on to things that aren't serving you, right? And so my thing for you is they go, okay, John, great. How do I get rid of my toxic friends? Well, it's really simple. What I did is I changed my voicemail, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I did. I made a decision. We go back to that word decide, that I was going to bring in people into my circle that's going to serve me. Okay. Some people say, oh, that's pretty selfish. I'm like, well, you dang right. It's a little selfish because some people, all they want to do is just give, 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 give. And they worry about everybody else except for themselves. And their own family gets sacrificed for them to go and sacrifice themselves for other people who aren't going to pay your bills, who are not going to send your kids to college, who aren't going to go and pay your mortgage, right, and help you retire. So I got to get the people around me that's going to serve me first. Hey, I got to put myself in the place to help me so that I can help other people, right? And so for me, so yeah, I was selfish, in the very beginning, and that's why I say, I changed my voicemail. That's how I got rid of my friends and the toxic ones. And what my voicemail said is this. I said, basically, hi. I said, this is John. Just want you guys to know that I'm making some changes in my life. If you don't hear from me, you're one of them. Right? And that was it. And I just distanced myself from those people. And I got myself around people like you, like Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter, who I hear is going to be on your show, right?
Yeah,
got myself around Don Green and other people. What's amazing is I went out there writing the book, making a movie, going on tour to help everyone else. But at the end, and I actually benefited from that, like I learned so much. Like I didn't realize how much I still didn't know, and so let me just tell you, when we went to the theaters and released the movie, I'm like, wow, this was great. And then the team came back and said, well, now what are we going to do? Can't be in the theaters forever. Most movies don't stay in there forever. How are we going to get this movie out? And I got a crash course on digital marketing. Did I want to go and learn everything about digital marketing? Not a chance. I went and got myself the smart people that know digital marketing, and that's how we went into the digital marketing space.
I love it.
And we crushed it in the digital marketing space. That's what I mean. Get people around you that will serve you, and the thing is, you mentioned something earlier that is like, people always ask me, they said, hey, John, what's your favorite TV show? What do you watch? What are you watching on Netflix and all that? Well, my thing is this, is that if you wake up in the morning, and I asked literally a bunch of people this question. I said, when you wake up in the morning and you open up your eyes, do you stay in bed? Do you sit there in a fetal position, all curled up, looking at your phone, right? And going through all your Facebook and your Instagram and all that kind of stuff in your Twitter feed? Or do you just jump out of bed? Are you like, boom, are you out? And they said, no, do you know that almost 95% of the people I asked said, no, I still lay in bed for about 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
And I said, isn't that amazing? So, when I have to go, so here's the thing, when I have to fly somewhere, let's say I was going to go to Boston, I'm going to catch an early flight because I know there's a 3-hour time change from California to the East Coast. So I'm going to take an early flight so I can get over there, grab a nice dinner. But then I have to get up early to get ready, right? And then I got an hour drive to the airport, and then I got to check in an hour earlier. So guess what? When I wake up, I don't sit in bed and look at my Facebook feed for 15 minutes. I jump out of bed, run to the shower, get myself ready, grab my suitcase, and I'm out the door, right? It's like boom, 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 boom. The reason is because I have a goal. I've got a purpose. So when people tell me that they're watching X number of different TV shows on Netflix, whatever channel, TV, they're watching, binge festing on TV, I'm going to tell you why you're doing all that. It's because you don't have massive goals, okay? And let me just tell you, and people say, well, I don't have any goals. It's because, you know what? You don't have a massive dream. Your dreams have got to be so big. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King said, most people die at the age of 25. We just don't bury them until they're 80, right? Because you've got such puny little dreams. Your dreams are too small. And here's the thing, many of you guys, your fears are bigger than your dreams, right? You got to let your dreams get bigger than your fears. And that way you overcome those fears and do whatever, right? And the word fear stands for feeling excited and ready. Feeling excited and ready. Are you ready to go and tackle the day, right? Are you ready to go into beast mode and go and attack it, right? Or do you really want to just sit there and lie in bed and binge on your social media? Folks, now's the time. People are looking for opportunities. You've got the solutions, and what you need to do is get with a business coach, which is one of my tips. Get with a business coach like me or somebody else, okay, and say, help me out. So real quickly, final thought here, Ron. I had a girl who came to one of my masterminds, okay? This girl paid $10,000 to come to one of my masterminds. She comes to the mastermind. She says, and I said, listen, I'm looking for the first 20 people to sign up for my mastermind. That's it. I'm not looking for 100 because I can't mentor 100 people, but I can do 20. And the first 20 who sign up right now for 10 grand, I'm going to help you start a business. Girl signs up, and while she's filling out the paperwork, she's still on the fence. She's like, fills it out and all that. The next day we call her just to make sure she's really serious, because I want serious people. So our team calls her up and she says, yeah, I'm really serious, but can I talk to John first before I really move forward? And first thing she says to me is, she says, do you really think that I can do this? Do you really think that someone like me, this $10,000 is like all I've got? This is it. I said, here's the thing. I said, what are your dreams? And then she started telling me her dreams. And this girl had big dreams, but she was still a little scared, which is normal when you're starting a business. Yep. I said, yes, I'll be able to help you out. So we get together, and she's now part of my mastermind, and we sit down one-on-one. And the first question I asked her, I said, what do you love to do? Because if you start a business, okay, which is my next tip, is you have to love what you do. John Maxwell, one of the greatest authors ever, I think, okay, and he said that you have to love what you do and do what you love. You have to love it, because if you don't love it, when you hit one little obstacle, you're going to stop. You're going to quit and say, I don't want to do this. This isn't for me. This is a sign from God. You're going to use every excuse to justify why you shouldn't do it. So I said, all right. And she says, gosh, I don't know. I really never thought about what I love to do. And I said, okay, well, it's like, what do you like on weekends? What do you do? Like on weeknights, what do you love to do? And she thought about it. And you know what she says? Of all the things, she says, I love taking baths. And I said, baths? Like, I thought golf, ride a bike, but not taking a bath. And so I asked her, I said, well, what do you love doing with baths? And she goes, I just love, using my bath bombs. And I go, a what? And she goes, a bath bomb. I go, what's a bath bomb? And she started telling me what a bath bomb is. And it's like a crystal, it's like a big, gigantic rock that's used. It's made of salt, right? Different types of salt, like Epsom salt with different types of scent, cherry and passion fruit or whatever, strawberries. And you can actually take it, drop it into your bathtub, and it sizzles like an Alka-Seltzer. And I said, oh, and I said, okay, that's your business. We're going to get into the bath aromatherapy business. So I got her connected with my contacts in Vegas. We created a mold. Okay. We helped her with creating a website. And then guess what? We did a couple videos, right? A big video thing, and how the process works and how you get in drop the bath bombs. And she actually did the whole thing. Right. And we did a little SEO. Well, just so you know, this year from January to the end of June, we haven't gotten our third quarter numbers yet, but by the end of June, she's already done $2 million on e-commerce sales.
I love it. Because everybody's stressed out and they need that bath right now to unwind.
Yeah, exactly. What better timing? So right now, it's like it's just like nonstop the fulfillment. And we use this one fulfillment company. She's the number 2 product right now that is selling like hotcakes. So this is what I'm saying, guys. You need to find yourself a business mentor. Okay, that's first and foremost to help you come up with these strategic ideas. Okay, and then number two is you got to love what you do. You got to love what you do. Okay, I mean, because if you don't, as I said, you're going to quit. And so I hope that helped. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got a million things I want to talk about, but I know we got such limited time. But
Yeah.
this is why it's important to get involved with a mastermind, get connected with Ron. Ron, I think you and I should probably do some sort of a mastermind, with everyone that's listening here within the sound of our voices. If they would love to get into a mastermind, come up with a fee that, and guys, the reason we charge a fee is not because Ron and I are looking to make more money, but we want to bring in others. Does that make sense? To come in, and they do charge. Like, it's not, there's no freebie. Their time is precious, so we bring them in. We got to pay them, and bring in some of these other experts, if you would. And so there are hard costs associated with this. Okay. Whatever I make, give it to the Napoleon Hill Foundation and make it a charitable donation, right? But let's put something together, Ron. I don't know, and we'll send it out to everybody, you and I, and maybe we can bring in some big names and help everybody start their own business now. Right now is the time, right? Not next year, not the year after. Now is the time to take this opportunity. Because I think, as we're soon to hear, everybody says there's a vaccine coming out and so forth. But I still think that even if there's a vaccine, a lot of people are going to be afraid to take it. There just hasn't been enough studies on it, and people are still going to want a social distance, and they're, until we get a clear understanding of this and do more research on it. So I think, me personally, like I'm not going to do any live events probably for at least another year and a half, So, and that's just where I'm at. I know others are really anxious to go and start a live event tomorrow, but I don't need to. I think we do great. Look at, like, we're doing a Zoom call now or a Facebook Live, and on your show. Well, what do we could do a mastermind just like this, and
we'll create a private Facebook group and just send them over there or whatever. I love it. And I love, like, I do got Sharon coming on in about 4 minutes, but coming into the green room. But I love the idea how you brought that. One, she wasn't, you found what she really, and if you look in 3 Feet from Gold, like one of the examples is, when Greg sat down, there was the jockey sat down next to him, right? The female jockey. And he had a list of what his passions was and what his talent was. And at the bottom, I mean, he had already gone through it, was, writing. And she just looked at it and saw it clear that, he was meeting all these people and he should write about it because that was what he loved to do and it was one of his passions. And that's what a mentor can help you do. Like you said, you brought her through that process. So having a mentor and having a coach, not seeking advice from your broke brother-in-law or how to lose weight from somebody who's 260 pounds. I mean, find somebody who is a business coach who has been there and prefer, like, maybe even in that field. Finding some right now, what a golden opportunity where everybody is seeing fear and shutting down and businesses closing. People are stressed out. They want to take baths, right? 50% of this country is female. So they, probably more females than guys actually do take baths. But so, they are stressed out. So this whole thing with the bath plays right into the COVID. So there are tons of opportunities. I had a friend on the show, Jennifer Deep Stratton, and we were talking about how so many businesses closed. And she said, yeah, but Ron, all those customers still need the services and the solutions that those businesses were providing. So anyone who's still in business, they should be blowing up. So
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the mentality. It's how you see it. And sometimes you can't see it. So getting a business coach, getting in a mastermind, surrounding yourself. If you're the smartest person in the room, then you need to be in a different room, right? But, surrounding yourself with people who are operating at a level, superior to yours or higher than you actually want to be at, because the conversation is different. The thought process is different. The questions that are asked are different. I love it. You and I definitely need to follow up, John. This has been, this has been great. And right off the bat, when I saw your background, I knew you had a great sense of humor and everything.
That's great.
In closing, right? Can you give? I mean, how can people contact you? I mean, we know it's John, John, Shin, Shin, and if you Google him, you're gonna come up. But is there a more direct way that people can reach you?
Yeah, just email me at John, John, at TGR for Think and Grow Rich, TGRmastermind.com. So TGRmastermind.com. I'm also on, all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is John Shin Official. And if you go in there, you guys can DM me. And I'd love to just chat with you guys, just quickly and see if we can get you in the right place. We'd love to help you guys out. Now is the greatest time to start a business.
It's all about that mindset. It's about how you perceive it. Do you see a problem or do you see an opportunity? You know what I mean? And it may be a problem, but there is an opportunity in every problem too. You know what I mean? So do you see solutions or do you stay stuck in the problem? You know what I mean? When you have a problem, you state it clearly, you get clear on what it is, and then you focus on the solutions. You don't stay stuck in that problem because that's just all negative energy and it's all karma and it's all that stuff. So I love talking to you, man. I'm hoping we can, talk again. And if you got time in 4 to 6 weeks, have you back on or whatever, fits your itinerary.
Always here for you, Ron. Always. It's great that you're doing this for everyone and serving them.
I love it. And thank you too for serving, you know what I mean? And being available and sharing your expertise and experience with everybody. Thank you, John.
It's my privilege. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Bye for now.
Take care, Ron.